Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. And I want to give double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And I also want to say peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, hearing the word in truth and in sincerity. Okay, I'm the brother Iwalum from the GMS West Palm Beach Camp. Back with another lesson. This one being, more distractions. Alright, as we head towards the end of this kingdom, and as you can see, Esau, Edom, it's throwing distractions once again, to keep the minds of the people distracted from, reality. And that's all Babylon is. Babylon is pretty much that bubble, that, these people are living in. And pretty much, Salaki. Pretty much, if you don't have your head on a swivel, you're not going to be able to keep track with what's really going on in the world. That's what Esau, Edom got these people in. He got them in that trick bag, man. And this is really inspired by, P. Diddy, and how they're bringing them back on the scene. And for a minute, P. Diddy, was out of the scene. All of a sudden, now, I think his woman, quote unquote, his woman is coming back with with a testimony against him, and other freaky shit that he like to do. But the thing is that, if you see the pattern that, Esau is doing, he's pretty much, just pulling different scenarios out of nowhere, and the purpose is to keep you distracted. Because when the P. Diddy thing go away, something else is going to come up. When something else that go away, another thing gonna come up, and then when the other thing go away, P. Diddy's gonna come back on the scene. You see what I'm saying? So it's to keep the minds of the people distracted. Alright? Because Jake like controversy, Jake like, drama, Jake like gossip. So, if it's a people that's not prepared for what's to come, it's the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, which are the children of Israel according to the Bible. But this is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour." And the point is, to be sober, be vigilant, man. Because with all these enchantments, with all these distractions being thrown out, Satan is he's on the loose to devour, man. Because this is more so a spiritual war than a physical war. We're not, of course, Esau, the so-called white man, is going to come, is going to eventually come after us physically, all right, because it's written for it to happen in the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter and the 12th verse. The devil has come down unto you having great wrath, because that he got a short time. So it's going to happen for him to come after us, but, right now, we're fighting the spirit. And we can see these things happening, as this word is coming out. Esau's pushing his lies, he's pushing his, his deception machine. Christians is in his back pocket, and we understand that, and we're not talking about a lower level Christians. We're talking about, those that claim to have gone to, seminary school, those that claim to have some kind of notoriety in this world. Man, look, they're under the order of the elite, because they're not about the Bible. That's why you see guys like Vocab Malone, and that other dude, the Abu Kamar, if that's his name, I don't know that dude. But that's why you see guys like that, constantly coming at the Hebrew Israelites, because, their whole MO is to come against this truth, But the point being is that simultaneously, while all these things are going on around the world, World War III is really about to happen, but ain't nobody talking about it but the men of the Lord. And you got some other truthers. You got truthers out there that'll bring things out. Alright, but news is not coming out, from the average person. It's coming out from the men of the Lord, being tied to the scriptures. Okay, it says, verse 9, "Whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing the same afflictions are accomplishing your brethren that are in the world. You know, pretty much going into how we're all going through the same thing. You know, the same afflictions. So we're all going through, you know, every brother's going through their own battle, you know, going through their own temptations. But, you know, it's not more. The Lord, like it says, the Lord does not put, you know, more than we can bear. You know. Salaki. You know? So let's go to 2 Corinthians 2 and verse 11. And it says, "Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." You know? And devices going into cunningness, trickery. You know, there's a lot of trickery going on in this world, man. You know? Esau, Edom, you know, whether it be, you know, the distractions, whether it be through the sports going on, you know, and we understand that, you know, we're into sports, you know, brothers like watching basketball, football, you know, but, you know, we're not consumed to the point where it takes us from reality, all right, but these people in the world, you know, you got people that their whole life, all right, is to monitor sports, man, it's to bet on sports. You know, you got Jake, you know, that's all they do. You know, is watch TV, watch sports, you know, talk about their favorite basketball player, talk about their favorite basketball game, you know, and it ends there. You know, that's their life. You know, but the point being is that, you know, Esau uses everything to his advantage, you know, to keep these people at bay. You know, just like in ancient Rome, they kept the people distracted through the bread and circuses. You know, that's what you see going on right now. You know, and the gossip and the media and all that other bullshit, you know, that's part of that. You know, that's part of the bread and circuses, man, because people will sit back and gossip all day about, you know, what celebrity slept with who, or what celebrity, you know what I'm saying? Like, stupid shit that don't even matter, bro. Like, these celebrities don't even know you, but you talking about them like, you know, talking about them like, you know, they pay your bills or they feed you every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, go live your life. But we understand that these are the people, you know that were appointed to the deception. You know. And it's lucky I'm driving right now, so I'm trying to keep focused. But yeah, man. Let's go to the book of 2 Thessalonians. And you really got people in that comment section, you know, the post that I saw dealing with Diddy. You really got people in the comment section entertaining that shit, man. You know, I saw it and I was like, come on, man. And the shit that was being talked about in that, you know, apparently, you know, and I don't want to get too vulgar, you know, apparently, you know, and this is some wicked shit, you know. Diddy wanted his woman, all right, to get another man's seed put on his nipples, you know, some dumb shit like that, you know, in another room. You know, it's wickedness, man. Even the thought of talking about it, that shit is wickedness. You know? And that's why we got to get out of here. We need salvation. You know, Jake sees this shit as entertainment. Like, they're not really looking at it as ill. They're not looking at it as, you know, while we talking about it, they're looking at it as entertainment. You see? So these niggas are wicked. Alright? And I'm not saying he didn't do these things, man, because, you know, in Babylon the Great, anything goes. Especially in Hollywood, anything goes. So it's no marvel if you do these things, man. It's just the fact that, you know, this is something that's accepted here, actually. Ain't nobody condemning this behavior, but everybody's quick to come against the Israelites, though. Everybody's quick to pretty much combat this truth. And that's why the Lord's going to kill a lot of people. Because you're not coming against the wickedness, but when truth is being spoken, when righteousness is being spoken, you know, you're here to look down upon the Israelites. You know, you're here to talk shit about the men of the Lord who's here for your well-being. You know? And that's why Jake is going to be destroyed, man. you know. But this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. And give me a second. Salaki, I'm going to go and park right here. First Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. And it says, "But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night." Right? The day of the Lord is going to come like a thief in the night. Meaning that you're not going to know. Yahushua said it. He said, "Of the day and hour knoweth no man." All right, but the Father which is in heaven. Okay? So, us here on earth, we don't know when Yahweh going to send Yahushua. We don't know when the end is going to really come. All right, but we know according to prophecy that we're near that moment. You see, and this is why, as the saying goes, you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Verse 3 says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." You see? And they're in that spirit right now, that peace and safety spirit, to where, they're comfortable. That's what it's saying. They're comfortable. Peace and safety. All right, we're in America. We ain't got nothing to worry about. We can keep talking about bullshit. We got our sports. We got our food. And that's the spirit that Babylon has put people in, especially our people, is that lackadaisical spirit, to the point where they ain't got nothing stored. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got no food, no water stored. All right, Esau's more prepared than our people, man. All right, when you look at these Edomite, preppers, they got years. They have years of preparation concerning an apocalypse, man. You see, and that show you that, they're in that spirit that to prepare, for what's to come. Verse 4 says, "But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of the light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness," right? We are not of darkness, man, or night, because we have this truth. Whereas a lot of our people, they're in the dark. And that's why, once again, shit like P. Diddy is easily distractible to them, because, they don't have the light. If they knew that this was Babylon the Great, they wouldn't be surprised at what the shit that is being said, in these media outlets. See, like when brothers see, these different news coming out about the sodomite behavior that goes in Hollywood, we sigh and cry about it, but, it's not surprising. It's not like a, whoa, damn. It's just, oh, Lord, how long? Lord, please save us. That's what it is. Okay. It says, verse 6, "Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober." Okay? Watch and be sober. Meaning what? Having you, being spiritually inclined to reality. So that's pretty much the point. All right, just want to go through the lesson, dealing with this whole P. Diddy thing and how, he's back on the scene, like Esau always does. He uses these celebrities and he uses these moments, whenever needed, to keep the people distracted from what's really going on. And through the spirit, and Lord willing, man, Lord willing, something happens out here in Babylon the Great that's going to change, the course of this place. All right, but Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem, Rakakodash, and double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to those for elect, hearing this word in truth and in sincerity. Until next time, I say shalom.